Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman. Happy to be in studio with you Tuesday, April 24th. Another beautiful spring day, and we are going to have boys lacrosse coming up now in prime time, Kev. Tonight's game between Fairfield Ward and Trumbull back up to 7 p.m. here on the HAN Network.
And now that makes that trip up to, well, I guess it's not a longer trip for Fairfield Ward, but still, that night ride up to Trumbull is tough, I tell you what. But that's going to be a good night there at McDougal Stadium. Ward, Trumbull, boys lax tonight. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see both teams. First time we're going to see both teams so far this spring in Trumbull. Great start for them. Yeah,
they're having a really good start to the year. I'd like to think that great start and then being on the network is why they get that primetime flex.
There you go.
You know, for the viewership numbers there. You're right. Trumbull off to a really good start. They had a tough setback against Staples in their last game. They fall 7-1. The offense stymied a little bit. They played without Peter Roberta, so I don't think we see a lack of offense again from the Eagles tonight. On the other side, it's a Fairfield Ward team, Kevin. A little bit of a rebuilding year. They're still trying to find their identity, but I think this is a really good opportunity for them to start to build here towards the second half of a successful later part of the season.
Right. I think this is the right time for Fairfield Ward to kind of say, all right, let's pick up the pieces here. Let's start, game by game. Let's go here and for the second half of the season, and to build the program up too with the young guys too, kind of build that confidence, get that leadership ability in there as well, and kind of have that belief in themselves that they can build this program up. And for Trumbull on the other side, this is a game for them where if they lose and they're that team sitting on the outside looking in as that 9th spot, this could be that type of game where they say to themselves, man, we really kicked ourselves for losing that game back in April against Ward. So this is a huge game for Trumbull too. 7 o'clock game under the lights. How do the players adjust to a bit of a night game when they've been so used to 4 o'clock games, 6 o'clock games throughout the season?
Especially too when you think about, we were talking with Bill Bloxham of the Trumbull Times earlier today. He saw Trumbull in their last game, and he just felt some of the fundamentals were off. They weren't very crisp with the way they were playing. A lot of ground balls that should have been won, they lost. The passing was probably below 50%, which they can't have. So little things like that. Now you add in the factor of it being night with the lights. That'll be interesting how they bounce around off that. For Fairfield Ward, and we'll talk more about this all in the B block, but my last thought, they come in under 500. They've played 500 lacrosse, though, their last 6 games. They've rotated win-loss, win-loss, win-loss against Roslyn, New York, Staples, Kennedy Catholic, Ridgefield, Norwalk, Darien. They're playing good competition. They're playing better lacrosse. So I like where they are heading into this game. And I'm not going to sleep on the Mustangs tonight. It's definitely a game Trumbull should win at home. I think we'll have them as favorites. But the more we read into this game, the higher and higher I'm getting on Fairfield Ward about it.
Yeah, because they could play loose. They could go out there and have fun, and that's when it becomes dangerous. For teams who are projected to win, we saw it in basketball in the winter season, how teams were projected to win. The team comes in with a little bit of motivation. They're playing a little looser, maybe having a little bit more fun, and then they end up being the team that wins and surprises some people.
Well, I think we saw that yesterday in baseball.
Yeah.
A lot of teams that were supposed to win, but all of a sudden now, the baseball picture is really starting to shake out, and you're going to see who are contenders, who are pretenders. And let's just start with the first game here on FCAC.net. Danbury and St. Joe's. The Cadets have now lost 3 in a row. They fall to the Hatters 10-3. First up, you've got to give credit out to Justin Solomon, gets his first win of the season. AJ Palozzi picks up his first loss for St. Joe's. 8 hits for Danbury. What's more shocking to me is they put up 10 runs, win this game, and hold St. Joe's to 3 runs, despite having 3 errors defensively.
And Kenny Martinez with the grand slam. The Bats, Danbury is that team again, where you can come in and look at the records are thrown out the window. Danbury is that type of team where they can beat anyone. They really can.
Oh, yeah.
They have that type of mentality, that confidence in them. And yeah, they may lose a couple close games throughout the season, but again, you're going to see them down the stretch be that dangerous team. And now question marks start to boil up now with St. Joe's. Are they legit? Are they, maybe is the inexperience there? So St. Joe's is a little bit of a tough puzzle here, losing 3 straight.
Yeah, they fall to 5-2 in the conference. You see how tight it is at the East Division there. You've got 5 teams with 2 losses or less. On the west side of the conference, there is Staples 6-1, West Hill 4-2, and then Danbury sitting there at 4-3. So altogether, you've got a total of 10 teams with 3 or less losses right now, fighting for those top 8 spots. Huge for Danbury that you've got the Solomon brothers dealing now.
Yep.
If Justin and Ryan can provide that 1-2 punch on the mound, it makes the Hatters very, very dangerous. Defensively, the 3 errors are concerning. You get away with it against a St. Joe's team right now that's in a little bit of a lull, but there are going to be games down the stretch that can cost you. And you're right. Is this, what point in the season is that 9th or 10th team going to look at a game on the calendar and say, that was the one that ended up being the difference?
And that could be St. Joe's when they look back at yesterday's game saying, man, we got our butts kicked. We could have had that game.
Yep.
That win could have solidified us getting into the postseason. Now for Danbury, huge win, huge confidence booster, but you're right, the errors still, I have to say, clean. I think teams are still trying to clean it up early part of the season. Considering the amount of snow, rain, weather, just the delays, the postponements, I think teams are still trying to get adjusted to the diamond, to the infield, the outfield as well. But all that, I think, will get cleaned up by the later part of the season. 2
teams that might be looking at yesterday as a missed opportunity. Number 1, Ridgefield, falling against Brian McMahon 9-3. That's a game the Tigers probably should have won, and they might look back and have some regrets. And that's a McMahon team, Kevin, that won a game despite making 6 errors. 6.
And you know who's scratching his head today? You know who's having a rough time with this? Is Coach Paul Fabry. Yeah. He's having a tough time, figuring this one out because Ridgefield is a team where they have speed in the base path. So you think, okay, we get on via error and we can run the bases. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they only scored 3 runs when McMahon's given up 6 errors, it's a little concerning. And again, Ridgefield, I think they'll be okay. But this is a game again. Ridgefield could be that team where they're on the outside looking and saying, "Oh, come on, we could have won that game."
And give a lot of credit to Frankie Greco for McMahon, who pitched he pitched his first 5 innings of scoreless ball there, gave up some runs in the 3rd, a couple of those via the error, only 1 earned run for him. But that's a loss for Ridgefield. That could leave them, scratching their head a little bit, and it's a win that realistically keeps McMahon in the hunt at 2-4. They've got a chance if they can get on a little bit of a hot streak here. Losing 1-0 yesterday, falling to 2-4. The Trumbull Eagles, they were shut down by Zach Lopez, who was just the definition of an ace yesterday for the Rams. He pitched 7 innings of shutout ball, 9 strikeouts. New Canaan wins 1-0. Griffin Arnone had the RBI single in that game. Jay Chiappetta pitched a really good game as well, gave up that run in the 1st inning. Then he held everyone in check for the next 6. So New Canaan, I think, is playing better than most expected.
Yeah.
They've been a pleasant surprise to a lot of people, and we're seeing, despite losing a lot from last year, they're putting themselves back in position to be a playoff team. Getting a 1-0 win at home against Trumbull is very impressive for the Rams. It's one that I just feel the Eagles are going to look back and say, how could we not produce 1 run?
Yeah, that's frustrating. That's just a total pitcher's duel there. We saw yesterday. Zach Lopez, 9 strikeouts. The guy was dealing. And yeah, you're right. I think this is frustration, certainly. That bus ride home had to be a little frustrating for Trumbull, considering they were right there, 1-0, pitcher's duel. Maybe if they had that 1 extra hit, maybe who knows what would have happened. But you're right. There are a lot of games that happened yesterday where teams who we expect to be in the postseason lost, and we could look at this date yesterday saying, wow, there's 2 or 3 or 4 teams that really could have said, if we won this game, maybe we're one of those teams inside the postseason.
St. Joe's has lost 3 in a row. Ridgefield's now lost 2 in a row. 2 teams, though, that are trending certainly in the right direction over the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Darien, 7-2 victory over Stanford. They continue to rely heavily on pitching. Justin Vandegraff with a complete game win, had 7 strikeouts. He continues to just be dominant. Sean O'Malley had a home run, 4 RBIs. Justin Jordan, 3 for 4. And then you also had Wilton winning their 4th game in a row, 10-4 over Fairfield Ward. I think these are two teams that are starting to get hot early on here, Kevin. They're starting to play some of their best baseball, and teams that we'll have high expectations for if they continue to play at this level moving forward.
Darien, without a doubt, is one of the strongest teams, along with Staples. Staples, I still give them number 1, just a slight edge. But Darien, man, this is going to be a scary team all season long. I don't think they're going to miss a beat throughout the season. I think they're going to continue just to play strong baseball from start to finish. And you predicted. I agree with you. I think this is a team that certainly can get to the FCIAC final. And for Wilton, slow start for them. I know that it's not the one that they wanted to have, considering winning the FCIAC championship last year. But they're playing good baseball right now, 4 in a row. This could maybe start a trend for them. Can they maybe get a streak going and play some red-hot baseball going into May?
They lost via the run rule to Staples the 5th game in their past 5. So that was the last one before this little win streak started here. So maybe that woke up the Dragon, gets the monster going here. They're playing really, really well. They're getting quality pitching. They're getting depth hitting across the board right now. It's a Wilton team that we know has experience and knows what it takes to win. So we keep an eye on them and see what they can do. The last game from yesterday, I want to mention, West Hill 13, Trinity Catholic 1. The Vikings continuing to play well. And again, you know where I stand with this. What can you do for me at the end of May? That's what we think about West Hill. Baseball is certainly shaking up to be another great season, though, in the FCIAC. Kevin and I have got to take a break. When we get back, we'll take a look at some of the softball action from yesterday and continue getting you ready for tonight's matchup between Trumbull and Fairfield Ward and Boys Lax on the AJN Network.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during Ram Truck Month, get up to $14,000 off on all in-stock 2017 Ram 1500 pickups. Come in and see us for details. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Ortho Connecticut Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Ortho Connecticut Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 4 locations: Norwalk, Darien, Westport, and Danbury. Go to myorthoct.com, like them on Facebook.
Create your dream home at Laurel Ridge. 3 bedrooms, 2-car garages, finished basements, wooded and lake views, recreation facilities galore. Stay connected to your local lifestyle with the convenience of being just minutes away from Fairfield County. Luxury townhomes that are smart, elegant, custom, and maintenance-free.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the...
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman in studio, looking back on Monday's FCIAC action. Real exciting one in softball for the Lady Warriors, Kevin, as they take down, or survive, I should say, against Fairfield Ward by a final of 7-6 there. The Warriors starting to play some good softball here down the stretch. Where do you see them right now in your playoff picture?
3-3 right now in the FCIAC. I still give them an opportunity. There's still plenty of softball to be played. It's April 24th. They still have a good chunk of softball to be played. I give them a great shot to make it.
Well, it's a big thing too that you're going to have that tiebreaker against a Ward team there, who you're really fighting for one of those final spots with. I like the way they're playing right now. I think they're doing a lot of good things. So I agree with you. I think if you were going to give me a nod in or out, I'm leaning towards them being in. One team that there's probably no doubt about being in, St. Joe's.
St. Joe's, and what about Trumbull?
Oh, man, they're both just...
Trumbull, number one in the are they still number one in the state?
I believe so. And listen, I stand by, until someone really takes you down.
Yeah. I think that obviously there's going to be tough competition once the FCIAC postseason comes in general, but I think it would be very cool to see St. Joe's and Trumbull face off in the FCIAC championship game, get a little Trumbull rivalry going there. I know our director Steve may take a visit there, but I think that'd be really cool if those two teams ended up facing off against one another.
It's interesting because they're doing it in such different ways too. You're getting just absolute dominant shutdown pitching and defense from Trumbull. Emily Gell has been so good on the mound for them, just absolutely spectacular to watch here in her sophomore year. And for St. Joe's, it is just, they are taking the cover off the ball. 19 runs yesterday on 16 hits. You have that fire and ice kind of matchup building here as they stare each other down. Yeah,
Trumbull seems to win closer games, while St. Joe's seems to not blow every opponent out, but they're winning by a wide margin. And that's why, if you get a chance to see these two in the FCIAC championship game, if you throw a Gell on the mound, that would be pretty cool to see how that shapes up, because as a sophomore, come on. It's just ridiculous what she's doing. And the fact that she has 2 more years left to see how she's going to develop as a pitcher, it's going to be really fun to see.
Next Wednesday, 5-2, May 2nd. Mark your calendars for that game. That's going to be a really, really good matchup there. That game will be at Trumbull too, 4:15 start. So we'll keep an eye on that. Cadets have 1 loss on the year out of conference against Massac. Trumbull currently undefeated. And St. Joe's did it yesterday against a Danbury team currently sitting second in the West. They're 4-3 in the conference, 8-3 overall. We're going to see them against Stanford pretty soon. It's not a bad Danbury team, but you see sort of that discrepancy between 1 and 2 in the conference and those others trying to play catch up.
Right, and Stanford too, they're sitting 3-3 along with a bunch of other teams like a Darien, like a Warren, like a Wilton. All 4 of those teams, I fully think, and Staples as well, sitting 3-3. So all 5 teams are strong softball programs. We know how good Stanford has been these last few years, maybe even more. I fully expect Stanford to be one of those teams who makes it in. But that's going to be a fun finish between these 5 teams right now, April 24th, who sit at 3-3 in the FCIAC. To see that race go to the end of the season, that's going to be really fun.
Stanford, Danbury is going to be really good. Darien, Ward, Wilton. And then you've got New Canaan sitting there 2-4, Ridgefield 2-4. Softball is very, very, very tight in that sort of 12 through 6 mesh, I should say, right there. So a lot of good teams we got to keep an eye on, and that'll be a fun race down the stretch. Staples with a big win over Greenwich yesterday, 8-6. That gives them a little advantage there. And Ridgefield keeps themselves in the hunt, 11-1. They take down Brian McMahon. We got to take one more break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, Kevin and I will talk a little bit more about tonight's lacrosse game between Fairfield Ward and Trumbull. Our director, Steve Gutman's got some questions to fire our way as we go through some hot topics here on Nutmeg next.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. SCAP Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Call, click, or stop in today. Save thousands right now at the Spring Sales Event, now through April 30th.
Winter's finally in the rearview mirror, and the Dock Shop is ready to help you usher in our favorite season, summer. We've got new offerings in our usual products: clothing, jewelry, home decor, fishing tackles, and boating supplies. And now the Dock Shop does in-house laser engraving. You can add a name, a boat name, latitude, longitude, an image to drinkware, serving platters, boards, or decorative accessories. No minimum, fast turnaround. Stop in today and start your summer. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Base Star and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HA Network, Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, and happy to welcome in our director now, Steve Gutman. Got some hot topics for the week. He's firing our way. Steve, first question you got for us. Take it away.
What's up, Kevin? So we have Greenwich coming up on the schedule in boys lacrosse a couple times over the next few weeks. They started off with kind of a rough start. They lost to Trumbull 9-8, I believe, kind of surprisingly. How are they going to bounce back here over the end of the season and finish off strong and clinch that playoff berth?
All right, so big one Thursday.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Greenwich hosts New Canaan. We're going to have that game. I think it is a big advantage for the Cardinals that New Canaan has Darien looming on Saturday. Maybe you catch them sleeping a little bit here. They're 5-2 in the conference right now. Their losses are to Ridgefield, very talented team. We saw them beat Wilton handily as well. And that one against Trumbull, we'll give them that. Tough game there. I don't think they're in jeopardy of missing the conference playoffs altogether. But for Coach Bobby Lutz, there are definitely some signs that have got to be concerning. Discipline has been an issue at times. The face-off X has been a major problem for them this year, and we know how important that is. The good news, I think, in goal, they've got a lot of confidence right now. With Connor Santry back there. I think offensively with guys like Fida, Bogger, they know they're capable of going off on any given day for a big total. So I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet. I think this matchup against New Canaan is a good test to see where they measure up because I think I have both of them right now in that 3 to 5 spot in the conference.
Yeah, this could easily be a first-round matchup between the Rams and the Cardinals that we're going to see Thursday. And we touched upon it lightly yesterday how we don't want to see New Canaan look ahead to Saturday prior to Thursday's game. Thursday's a huge game going on the road to Greenwich. And Greenwich, you know what? They play well at home. I think they're a lot more confident when they play at home. Santry in net, I like him. I think he's been strong at times. The defense needs a little bit of work. But I think, again, there's some talented players on this team. They also have a lot of young guys, too. And I think when you have J.T. Lawrence and you have a guy like Matt Bogger, yes, the discipline has been lacking a little bit there, but I think it's just been a frustrating start to them. And 5-2, it shouldn't be frustrating. To lose to Trumbull, I get it. You look back on it, maybe that's a tough loss to look back on. But for Ridgefield, you shouldn't feel frustrated about that. It's a good Ridgefield team. The ground balls in that Ridgefield game that we saw were a little concerning to me. Ridgefield won a lot of those ground balls compared to Greenwich. But really, it's the face-off circle, but again, losing Savio is not easy to replace a guy like that. So, again, no panic for
next 4 Greenwich games. Home against New Canaan, home against Chaminade, home against Wilton, on the road at Darien. That goes through next weekend. By the 6th, by May 6th, Sunday, May 6th, we're going to know exactly who the Greenwich Cardinals are. They have got a lot of growing up to do. They're going to do it in these next 2 weeks. I think we figure out who they are. Steve.
So we'll stick with lacrosse here. Open it up to the girls' side of the sport as well. We have the doubleheader on Saturday between Darien and New Canaan. What does New Canaan have to do to kind of end this streak on Darien's side? For the boys and the girls, what do they got to do to kind of take themselves out of that second spot there?
They've got to find a way to lock the blue wave in their locker rooms.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
I mean, if they don't make it to the field, how can they win?
I think on the girls' side, you have to focus when you're playing defense. Who do you focus on? I mean, there's so many players. The first 2 players to stand to me are the Humphrey sisters. They've been playing lights out beginning the season here for Blue Wave. I know last year they had a great season. Again, they're playing unbelievable. So I don't know who. You can't double up on anyone. It's almost nearly impossible, even on the boys' side too.
Think about this. You're talking about a high school right now whose boys' team, per the U.S. Lacrosse Magazine, ranks number 2 in the nation, and whose girls' team ranks number 3 in the nation. That's ridiculous. And you're talking about a 62-game win streak. Dave Stewart said it best yesterday. I don't know if we've seen anything like this in Connecticut lacrosse ever.
Yeah.
what the boys are doing right now in lacrosse. For New Canaan this weekend, I don't see either of them getting the win, but if you play Darien tight, if you can expose a couple of their flaws now, ultimately your goal is you're building towards the postseason matchups. When you see them in the FCX tournament, when you see them in the state tournament. Obviously, you want to be the team that ends that winning streak, but if you had the choice of doing it on April 28th or May 24th, you're going to choose the latter.
I think, for me, it all starts in the face-off X. Win the face-offs. I know it's not easy to do.
Nick Cravato is a very, very good face-off man, but I think Tanner Strube has been one of the most improved players in the conference, in the state, in his career at Darien. Over the past 3 years, he has been one of the most improved players in the state. So I'll give the advantage to them there as well. Steve.
Last one here. We're just about running out of time. For tonight's game, we have Trumbull versus Ward, and the Eagles do not lose at home this year anyways. So where do you guys fall on this one?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I think the Eagles certainly, I mean, this just goes back to for a long time now. It just seems like the Eagles always have an advantage at home, no matter what sport it is. They always seem to play well at home, and for the lacrosse team, they're playing really well right now. I think the one question mark for me is Max Bowen, the Fogo. I think the guy, the face-off man, I know they've been fluctuating back and forth, but for Max, if he can take care of the face-offs tonight and they're able to get some extra possessions, without a doubt, Trumbull's going to walk away with this win. Overall, I'm excited to see Peter Roberta. He had a great season last year. I'm excited to see him in the midfield. I know he's coming off a little bit of an illness, but I'm excited to see this Eagles team, man. I'm looking forward to it. I give the Eagles a win at home. I give them a 6-goal win.
All right, that's fair. For me, the big number here is 12. If Trumbull scores 12 goals, I have a lot of confidence that they will win this game. What's concerning is in their 2 losses this year to Staples and to St. Joe's, they were held to 1 and 4 goals. Staples is a very good team. I think they're a lock for the postseason, barring some sort of disastrous collapse. St. Joe's is a team Trumbull, with some of the early wins they had, probably wishes they could have back, especially the rivalry game as well. But, it's a Fairfield Ward team that's doing some little things right now.
Yep.
And if they can make Trumbull uncomfortable, maybe force the Eagles to chase a little bit early on, you win some of those ground ball battles, I think it's a Fairfield Ward team that people are, especially, this Trumbull team could potentially be overlooking. You got a big game coming up on Thursday against Cheshire. It's very easy for Trumbull to underestimate a Mustang team that is continuing to get better week by week. I want to believe in Trumbull. I do, and I hope by 7 o'clock tonight, now I've got that extra hour, I'll be confident enough to say, yes, Trumbull wins at home, book it. But right now, I'm back and forth a little bit, so I'll just say the number is 12. Okay. You score 12 goals, this will be their 7th win on the season.
Works with me.
You had a question, Steve?
No more questions. I think the Eagles reached 12. They'll win 17-9. Put that one down.
Don't be such a homer, Steve. Come on. All right. Well, we are done for the day. We're back at 7 tonight. We've got boys lacrosse, Fairfield Ward, and Trumbull. Of course, we've got Nutmeg tomorrow for you. Coffee break at 11 a.m. with Kate Czaplinski. Steve, good questions. Maybe we'll give you another chance again later this week. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you next time on the HAN Network.